Hello and welcome. I've got an exciting episode for you today, bros. I'm really pumped to bring you this one because we've got some news. It's the kind of news that I love to dig into and speculate on. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's also not going to move the price too much, in my opinion. This isn't going to be a huge price mover. This is just an excellent development in a pro-decentralized direction, and I love to see it. But are we going to talk about price, T-Shroom? Because I want my bags to go up so that I can buy that Lambo. Of course, we're going to talk price. This is the Investing Bros, baby. We're not out here just for the decentralization. We are out here to make some gains as well. Let's get into the price per coin here for Bitcoin and take a look. Now, it's dismal. It's not looking good. We have not been able to hold this up trending line of support here, but I'm laughing, right? I'm still having a light attitude about it. And I probably won't change that, but you might be. So, for the sake of your heart and for your hands, maybe they're on the paper side, maybe they're on the diamond side, I'm going to do a little bit of analysis here. So, we haven't seen prices get lower than 60,008, right? And we are currently a good bit above 60,008. So, the price discovery to the downside currently 3.5% margin between where we have been at the lowest of this price discovery and where we are today, the live price. Okay. Now, that is basically where the bullishness begins. Let's see if we can find some more bullishness here. Unfortunately, here on the daily, we do have the red histograms accelerating to the downside, bearish. MACD lines widening from each other and both pointing to the downside, bearish on the daily. See if anything changes on the 4-hour. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more bullish. You do have slightly decelerating histograms there, and the MACD lines are I guess, mostly sideways. Let's go back to the daily. We'll keep comparing them here. See what Lux Algo oscillator matrix is saying here. Yeah, so continued. Just tick down on the daily here, down into the red for the money flow. No bueno there for our Spanish speakers. Got a jerk to the downside, and now a lower low for that hyperwave. So yeah, I mean it's bearish. It's bearish, right? And this is the part in the cycle where it's like we are saying that we told you so is so far from bringing me any pleasure. That is not the point of the Investing Bros. We did not start a YouTube channel to prove everybody right or prove everybody wrong. Honestly, I could care less about being right or wrong. I want to make money, and so do you. So my intention here to say what I'm about to say is not to rub it in anyone's face. It's not to think that I'm better than anybody. That's so far from my motivation here, but it may come across that way. This is why we bring to your attention potential lower levels. And people don't like to tune into YouTube to hear about potential lower levels. They want to hear about the high price prediction. Could Bitcoin go to 1 million? Could Bitcoin go to 5 million? I think that it can, but that's going to take time, right? 5 million might be a little bit more in question, but 1 million, I think it's in the sights, right? But that's going to be a 2030 conversation. Right now, we are in 2024, and we have to trade the charts in front of us. Caleb Franson's going to be on Wednesday. He loves to say that, and I love to hear him say it. Trade the chart that's in front of you. So take a look here. The next level to the downside, in my opinion here, at this point, is 58, right? If we can't hold the level that we're at right now, which to be honest with you, we didn't. This was the most significant level, in my opinion, here, was this uptrending line of support that had been put in back here on the 20th of March, and then back here very briefly. I mean, this is weak, but 29th of February, right? And then you do have this wick that somewhat kind of wanted to trade in that level. You could even draw a clone level of support here to kind of help you out. Just go wick to wick, right? Not, if that makes you feel better, we're trading inside that. Technically, we haven't lost that uptrending line of support, right? But the reality is that you zoom out and you realize that Bitcoin has needed to come down and retest to the downside. You've tuned into the Investing Bros. You've heard us say that, and maybe you've clicked off. Maybe you're like, I'm going back to my moon, boys, and we go into the moon. I'm tired of hearing this bearish nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's markets. And it's real people's wealth invested in these markets. And real people are not going to just let their money dissolve, right? They take profits at the top, especially whale traders, that are buying in here, looking at this technical setup, the breakout, they buy, they sell. right? And when there's a lot of overextension that we've seen, if we go out to the monthly chart, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we got to get into this really good news, and I'm very excited about it, right? But and again, this is we told you so, but that's not a we told you so, and we're dancing and we're celebrating it. So we told you so, and stay tuned to the bros because we are grounded, right? We will talk about the lower levels when no one else is talking about them, and then when we hit them, now everybody loves to subscribe. Now everybody loves to tune in. That's great. Here we are, OGs. You know what you know. But if you take a look here, you can see if I clear everything off, it doesn't clear everything off. You can see that we have been trading above the Bollinger Bands for quite some time. Now, that's expected in a bull run for Bitcoin, and it's good. I like that. We want that, right? But trading outside of the Bollinger Band means at some point you come back in the Bollinger Band, right? And back here, when we came back in the Bollinger Band in 2021, right, we saw a 55% move to the downside. Now, T-Shroom, I was with you until you brought up the 55% downside. I don't think we're doing 55% downside. 55% downside from the top wick here at the all-time highs for Bitcoin. That would bring us down low, right? That would bring us down past the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the monthly chart. Why am I? Okay, there we go. I was going blind there for a second. It would bring us back down to 32,005. I don't think we're getting back down there, right? That's not the reason why I pulled up the monthly chart. The reason why I pulled up the monthly chart is because we are due for a correction. We're due for a pullback. We're getting that pullback. There is starting to be blood in the streets, right? It may be painful for some of you all. It's painful for me to see price go down to some extent. I'm not going to lie. I don't love to see it. I love to buy the lower levels, which I have been, and putting out videos on which altcoins I'm buying on these lower levels. But I don't love to see the price go down. I like to see these monster red candles just as much as the next guy, right? So what does it all mean? Well, it means we're hodling here. The good news is that we're in a bull market. We're about to get into some news that is bullish. So let's go ahead and let's do that. But before we do, let's jump into the chat. What is going on, chat? We got Dylan Martinez saying, yo, Crypto Zero said, Moon Boys. You got to love the Moon Boys. We're here for them. Atreyu. There was a band called Atreyu, wasn't there? Said, we here with the bros. Indeed. Hodl boys. Write it. That's right. We love it. We love to see it. Bitcoin has been overbought here in this bull run. The ETFs have kind of thrown it all for a loop, and we've needed a pullback, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with a pullback, right? But because we have just gone so high for so long, this pullback feels a little bit more painful than maybe it needed to, right? That's what we're observing here in the markets. But let's get into the news. Justin, Google has opened a new office in El Salvador to support the country's digital transformation and modernization services of government.
Nice.
Very good. I'm still learning how to read, but you can see there. This is very bullish. Very bullish. Lower crime, growing the economy, higher foreign investment, IMF in tears. I didn't even see that they put this part. I was going to add the IMF context here in just a second, but you get a little bit of a taste of it there. Gotta love it. El Salvador. This is from blog.google, so this is the official Google press release here, April 16th. Man, already on the 16th. Goodness gracious. El Salvador. Hello. We're opening our new offices to support the digital transformation. I wish I could read this in Spanish, but I don't know Spanish. Today we're excited to announce, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but today we're excited to announce the opening of our offices in San Salvador, the capital. This is an important step as we move forward to our commitment to help support the country's digital transformation, including the modernization of its government services and economic development. Right? One thing to read in there is probably a lot of data services, right? Probably coming in, here's a bunch of server space, here's a bunch of data crunching services. And, you have to assume that El Salvador probably has a lot of its systems stuck in the past and that has nothing to do with crypto, right? Yet. The overall narrative here with crypto is that El Salvador, in case you didn't know, El Salvador has Bitcoin as a legal tender currency, meaning that you can not only buy and sell in Bitcoin, But with a legal tender currency, you get those legal tender laws where vendors have to accept and have to give you change back. Think about that one in Bitcoin, right? Now there's been some exceptions there. I know that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're talking about Google's role in the new global structure, right? And it looks to be significant, and it looks to be crypto friendly, crypto forward. We love to see it. Now, for those of you who've been taking a look at the crypto space for a long time, this shouldn't surprise you too much, because back in August of 2023, late August, Google plans to establish operations in El Salvador, right? So they've been planning this for a while, but today we are getting the big update from Google themselves. So it's exciting. Now, back to the IMF and tears note here. The IMF and tears. Why are they in tears? Because the IMF is still demanding changes to El Salvador's Bitcoin law. The IMF reportedly demanding changes to El Salvador's pioneering Bitcoin law amid 1.4 billion credit negotiations, the report says. And this was from just a couple days ago on April 12th. Okay, again, none of this, in my opinion, is going to move price in the short or midterm. Right? I think this is a long-term development, and very long-term indeed. Why? Because the IMF sucks. They are very anti-crypto. They're the ones where if they came out with a CBDC, that'd be one of the scariest developments of our time. If it got adopted, it probably wouldn't get adopted though. Google, in my mind here, and this is a little bit tinfoil hat, but we're gonna have it is a little tinfoil hat, but we're gonna have on Bitcoin Ben here in the next couple weeks. We haven't locked down a time, but this, I really am interested to see what his thoughts on this development is, especially when Hong Kong has just also approved the spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs for the Asian crypto theater, as it will. The IMF sucks, but they still serve this purpose of helping really poor nations feed their people, essentially get the bare essentials. And what they do is they give these giant loans, $1.4 billion loans. Sometimes they'll give grants, but they basically, I mean, I don't want to get too dramatic here, but they basically indebt a lot of very old, but very poor countries. And, their headquarters are in Washington, right? So it also plays a little bit of a geopolitical role, a little bit of soft diplomacy, if you will. So it's good to see Google. Well, I don't know if good's the right word. It's different to see Google coming in and saying that they're going to be the ones to give El Salvador a little boost, right? We're opening up new offices to support. They're there to support El Salvador. And their intentions are very pure. Probably, yes. They're more pure than the IMF, I think. All right, I think some of you are reading between the lines. I think some of you are like, what the heck, T-Shroom? Google? What does Google have to do with El Salvador? Why are we talking about El Salvador? I've never even heard of El Salvador. C'est la vie. I get it. It's okay. We'll move on here. If you know, and you know that this is a big deal. It's basically Google's kind of taking a step forward here, right? And they can't hide it anymore. They are pro-crypto. They have just gone in and providing support, providing acceleratory help here to a nation that is having to reach out to the IMF and say, hey, we're doing great. We're lowering crime, right? We're bringing stability to the economy, but we still need money. We need loans, 1.4 trillion. The IMF's like, yeah, here, we got it for you right here. All you have to do is start to roll up those Bitcoin laws, right? Get those back. We don't like Bitcoin. We are the World Bank. IMF, we are the World Bank, right? International Monetary Fund. There's another one across the street of the IMF called the actual World Bank, and they're not like this. They're like this, right? And then you have the Bank for International Settlements. Then you have, anyway, the list goes on and on. Google saying, because of the timing here, this is a statement, right? Google basically coming in and saying, yeah, screw the IMF. We'll come in. We'll help you. Maybe there's some money exchange, but don't worry about the money. We're just going to come in. We're going to do the things that that money would have gone towards, right? Now, am I painting with very broad brushstrokes? Yes. But sometimes on these larger time frame developments, that's kind of how you have to look at it. We've got another one here, another broad brushstroke. It's a little bit more dismal, but that'll become at the later end of the show. Then there was this story. This one literally kept me up last night. I don't know what the heck has really gone on here. Again, not going to move price too much. Fubar said, today, Trust Wallet discovered the dark web, aka some dude on a forum who claims to have nation-state capabilities worth hundreds of millions and for some reason is willing to sell to you. Special deal, just $2 million. Please send USDC to whatever. Block this clown show. And then went on to say, these accounts spread misinformation that a 12-year-old would be ashamed of believing. Block their socials, delete their apps. This sort of unfounded panic from obvious scams deserves no second chances. So I'm not going to fully co-sign this because I'm not going to claim to understand exactly how these basically 0-day hacks work, but there's constantly hackers working on whenever, big software companies like Apple release a new OS, release some new software update to devices like iPhones. The hackers spring in action. They try to go and find vulnerabilities in this new software, and every once in a while they'll find a vulnerability, and then that vulnerability, they'll define it, Reddit, and they'll take it to the dark web and they'll try to sell it. But Fubar is saying here is that these types of vulnerabilities are worth hundreds of millions of dollars because they could get your crypto, but they could also get into hundreds of millions of people's bank accounts. Everybody who has a bank account logged in on their iPhone, which is a lot of people, multiplied by the amount of money, right? You're starting to see how this, from a raw business standpoint, illicit business, it starts to add up. So there was a post last night, yesterday evening from Trust Wallet, talking about this here. Due to this post getting a lot of views, they're talking about alert for iOS users. We have credible intel regarding a high-risk 0-day exploit targeting iMessages on the dark web. And then there's a lot of details about it, and there's some very smart people that reposted it. I reposted it. I even took the measures and still have the measures, by the way, which is basically you just go into your settings and you flip iMessages off. That is supposed to, make you less vulnerable to this. But we haven't seen Apple come out and really say anything about this. So anyway, I do think that there's a chance that Trust Wallet is potentially just running some FUD, because of this disparity of price, right? And then also how long it took for crypto news to cover it, right? Cointelegraph and Bitcoin.com I watched it in real time, took another 2 or 3 hours to go ahead and post something about this vulnerability. So it's very sketchy to me, right? There were accounts in the thread of Trust Wallet saying that they had been hacked, but there weren't like a lot. And there weren't, and it is actually still one of the top trending things you can see here on Twitter. It's one of the top 0-click crypto crisis. Trust Wallet warns iPhone users. Guys, zooming out here, back to the charts. Oh, going back to the charts. What does this have to do with price? What do you want to do right here? If you want to buy lower, how do you get it lower? How do you get it to come back down and touch 58,000? How do you get price to do that? You have to keep flooding the market because the buy thesis for Bitcoin is too strong. Right? You have to get people to feel fear rather than greed in order for price to go down, right? Is Trust Wallet running a FUD operation? It seems like Fubar seems to think so, right? To add insult to injury, there was more analysis here. And again, have I heard of Fubar before today or last night? No, I'm not like sitting here subscribing to low subscriber. Not low subscriber at all. He has 152,000 followers. Pardon me, Fubar. But this is like like security guys. They know what they're talking about when it comes to this stuff. They also talked about this. We didn't expect this to be our first tweet after the rebrand, but after seeing so much panic, we quickly looked into the code of the website used to sell the alleged 0-day, and it's full of ChatGPT code. So somebody sophisticated enough to find an Apple iPhone iOS 0-day used ChatGPT code to make their website. There's just a lot of elements here that kind of lead to this is just spun up FUD, right? But maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. Larry Wilson said Trust Wallet is a scam. I'm not going to say that, but Larry Wilson did. Zachary Martin said, when in public places, always turn your automatic Wi-Fi connection ability off too. Too easy for people to hack in your phone, that route these days. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Operational security, folks. It's very important. Spend as much time, well, maybe not as much time, but spend about a fourth to a sixth amount of the time that you spend researching crypto on your operational security and researching that. Crypto Zero said Hopium, a real estate equity mortgage lender and securitization platform, has gone live with its first home equity loans on Avalanche. Okay, Homium. Gosh, I read that wrong. Okay, that is a promotion there in the chat here. I don't know if you want to go do more research on that. You definitely can, but I don't know anything about that project. Sorry. Sometimes I just look at these comments and I just read them. Meek Vision said GMT shrooms. GM indeed. All right. Oh, we got a compliment here. The kid come and said, the smooth, dulcet tone of tea shroom in the morning. You got to love it. All right, let's keep moving here because we've got another big development here on the geopolitical front. This isn't the good one. It's an escalation, in my opinion. Walter Bloomberg reporting here, cyber attack reportedly targets Israeli data centers. A major cyber attack comprised key information centers in Israel. The country's Haaretz newspaper reported Tuesday. That's today. According to the report, the attackers not only breached the data centers, but also created a website to disseminate the stolen data. The Israeli government has provided no information so far, while the hacker's identity remains undisclosed. There's some context for this one, guys. So rather than launching missiles, they're basically locking down a nuclear facility, right, is what it has been defined as in other headlines. This one does not say nuclear facility, which is interesting. Just on information centers in Israel. Okay. Okay, so according to this one, it's not necessarily a nuclear facility. It's a data center. Okay. So interestingly, though, I'm not going to get into this too much, but if you guys want to go do some further research, Stuxnet. Stuxnet was something that kind of comes to mind here. Malicious computer worm, first discovered 2010, thought to have been developed since 2005. Stuxnet targets supervisory control and data acquisition systems and is believed to be responsible for causing substantial damage to the nuclear program of Iran. So this could be retaliation from the 2010 Stuxnet invasion of the nuclear program over in Iran. So very, very interesting. And this in my mind, this is escalation, which is bearish for risk assets, of which Bitcoin is still kind of in a morphic, approximate category of. So it'll be something to watch. Let's keep moving here. Got an interesting one here. Elizabeth Warren demands U.S. and CFTC chair explain his chats with SBF. Very, very interesting. Oh, man. The senator here turning her gaze, the anti-crypto senator of Massachusetts, turning her gaze back towards her own elected officials. Warren and Grassley sent Banman a letter calling for an account of all meetings and correspondence between you and SBF during your tenure. Over a 14-month period, CFTC officials had met with Bankman-Fried and his team as many as 10 times at the agency. And Banman told lawmakers in 2022 that he'd also exchanged a number of messages with the FTX founder, who was recently sentenced to 25 years in prison for the massive fraud perpetrated there. So we haven't heard from her in a while, but Elizabeth popping back up and popping off some shots at the CFTC and the former, what was he, a commissioner? And a former official over there at the CFTC. Again, not a lot of these stories are going to, well, this one, the cyber attack purportedly on Israeli data centers, that's an escalation. That, in my opinion, probably should have downward pressure on Bitcoin, on crypto, and other risk assets. But a lot of these stories are a little bit not touching the price too much. We try to only bring you stories that matter to your portfolio, but these are more going to matter to your portfolio on a mid to long term. Here's one that's a little more immediate. For those of you holding Bitcoin mining stocks, Bitcoin miner CEO are upbeat ahead of the having. Expect M&A, says Bernstein. So let's take a look here. The CEO of CleanSpark expects the industry to consolidate to 4 leading miners and believes Riot, Marathon, CleanSpark, and Cypher to be in the lead. The note said, adding that the CEO of Marathon also highlighted a path to industry consolidation and named CleanSpark as their ARC competitor. In the race for acquisition targets, full disclosure, I only hold CleanSpark. And there's a reasons for that we're not going to get into today as we reach the end of the show. One more headline, and it's a bullish one for Polygon holders. OKX launches Ethereum Layer 2 network in challenge to Coinbase's base. And the headline failed to mention Polygon, but here it is. A Layer 2 Ethereum scaling network built on OKX has launched mainnet, paving their way for new users with the Polygon-based aggregation layer. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the 9 a.m. stream. We just put out a video last night. For the first time, I did one of these standalone videos, and everybody absolutely loved it. They said, T-Stream, you did way better than Tim could ever do, and we want you to only do content on the channel. Just kidding. No, but you guys get raving positive reviews for me. Thank you so much. And we'll be live today, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about what the heck to do about these markets. We'll be absolutely taking a look at Bitcoin yet again. Folks, I mostly look at the 4-hour and the daily chart here on Bitcoin. But if you're trying to pursue a lifestyle of being a trader, you're going to need to go much deeper into the lower time frames. One of the ways that Tim and I like to do that, to go deeper into the time frames, is to turn off the traditional and turn on the proprietary, right? And these are paid indicators that give you an edge. They can predict reversals here with the reversal clouds. As you can see, these are Lux ALGO indicators, and we love to use them. I quote, the most that I use them here on the show is actually the Lux ALGO oscillator matrix. I love to use this all the time. Right now it's saying Bitcoin bearish, so I'm going to punch my computer, but I'm going to keep my Lux ALGO subscription. That's how that works. Overall, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Lux ALGO has made this episode possible, so make sure if you are pursuing a lifestyle of trading, you're wanting to get in there and get the best, most optimized trading strategy, you're going to need an indicator like Lux ALGO. Go ahead. We have the discounted links in the description for their services. Go ahead and check those out. You also support the bros. You support this awesome coverage that you have grown to know and love and to build into your daily habit and routine. Thank you for doing so. If you have not yet, then make sure you go ahead and subscribe and smash the notification bell. We never talk about that, and we should. Smash the like. We will see you guys, bros, at 3. If you're human, make sure you're staying hydrated.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.